All right. Hi, I'm here with Scott Walker from TeenSafe, and he's going to talk to us today about the difference between spying and monitoring. Hi, Scott. How are you today?
I'm great, Marcela. How are you?
Good, thanks. So, Scott, tell us a little more about how you perceive the difference between spying and monitoring.
Well, first, let me tell you a personal experience from my perspective of how TeenSafe was used in our family and in my life and how it made a difference. I have two daughters, one of which I would consider more like the easy to deal with. My first daughter was never in trouble, never had a problem. We were able to communicate and talk to her, and we actually shared with her, hey, we use this service, and we're going to be monitoring your cell phone, and she was okay with that. My second daughter, I like to call the troublemaker. It's hard to explain to a non-parent, but when you have a teenager she was a wonderful, amazing, wonderful daughter, and just kind of liked to push the envelope. And so my youngest daughter, we never told her that we were using TeenSafe to monitor her text messages. The reason why was you have two options when you're monitoring your minor, your child. You can tell your child will always know, and you will get filtered access to that child's information. She will let you know what she wants you to know. With our younger daughter, we knew even at an early age, she was getting involved in some questionable activities, alcohol, things like that. I don't want to get into too much detail, but we knew that there was some funny stuff going on, and we decided it was more important for us as parents to get the real truth of what was going on in our youngest daughter's world than it was to tell her, honey, we're monitoring your cell phone. That would have been an easy conversation to have. And if we had that conversation, she would have thrown a fit, and then she would have understood that we were monitoring her communication. And we wouldn't have learned where she was not allowed to go and who she was not allowed to hang out with. And we made a lot of our parenting decisions for our younger daughter based on not telling her. A lot of people who run around without teenagers in the world today will talk about, you can't spy on your kids, it's the wrong thing to do. My answer to them is, walk a mile in my shoes. Live through what I lived through. See what my daughter was dealing with as a 13 and 14-year-old. She's my responsibility. I'm liable if she gets in a car under the influence, drinking, and crashes that car and hurts herself or someone else. That's my responsibility. So this is a parental decision, 100%. Good parenting means understanding what it means if you need to spy on your children. There could be a reason for that. And so my only answer is spying might be the wrong word for monitoring when it's necessary. And I would like to say that I had two different children use the service in two completely different ways, and it was amazingly helpful in both situations.
Scott, and were you able to use the information directly with your daughter? Did you ever tell her, I know that you're doing this because I saw it on your cell phone?
No, we did not. I will give you an example, a specific example, just one, to kind of let you understand a glimpse into our world. My daughter is going to a sleepover, and I'm going to use fake names. My daughter's going to a sleepover at Susie's house. No problem. Oh, we're going to go to the mall, and we're going to go to Dave & Buster's and play video games. Sounds really fun, honey. I'm really excited for you. Coincidentally, we find out because of TeenSafe that she gets a text message from Billy, who says, LOL, did you tell them you're sleeping over with Susie? LOL. Yes, LOL. I'll pick you guys up and we'll have a great time, blah, 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 blah. Well, needless to say, we saw that message and she did not go on that sleepover to Susie's house that night. And she threw an amazing fit and we were ruining her life and all of these other terrible things. But because we knew the truth, we knew she was sneaking out with a 16-year-old boy and some other friends, and they were drinking. I knew it. He wasn't going. So the way we handled that particular situation is we said, you know what, honey? Since you're going to the mall, Mom and I are going to go too, so we'll take you and Susie to the mall. No, you can't do that. You're ruining my life. You're absolutely right, honey. We're ruining your life. We're terrible parents. Didn't go out that night.
Right.
So because I was spying, I kept my child from leaving with a drunk 16-year-old who, by the way, did take Susie and some other kids to this party, but my kid didn't go with them.
Right.
That's one specific example, and I can sit here with you, Marcela, for an hour and tell you story after story after story. And please understand, there were different stories between my oldest and my youngest. It just turned out that way.
And Scott, what would you say to parents who believe that even if you're doing it for their benefit, that it's a breach of trust?
Here's what I will tell you. The breach of trust story, it works like this. When I know my child doesn't have the mental capacity to make decisions like an adult, and they're being thrust into adult situations. So it's a different story with an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old than it is with a 13 or a 14-year-old. And so from that perspective, I tell any parent that wants to engage in this conversation, use your judgment. It's really, really important that you use your judgment and know, this is the right thing to do, this is the wrong thing to do. But, like, I'm not looking to get involved in her gossip and stories and, and helicopter parent and all that stuff. I'm looking to keep my daughter, in this particular case, safe, alive, I'm just looking to get her through her high school years, where I'm hopeful that her college experience, as she goes off on her own and she is no longer a minor under my supervision, someday I'll be able to have this conversation with her. Someday, just like when I had to tell her about Santa Claus, that was also a breach. And that was lying to my daughter. I told her there was a Santa Claus. And it was a difficult conversation later when she was ready to understand that there was no Santa and the tooth fairy didn't really fly in through the window and put a quarter under her pillow. I had all of those conversations when my daughter was mentally ready to have that. From experience to first-time parents to parents of younger kids, this is necessary. We didn't grow up with this kind of life that these kids have, these digital natives that we don't understand. It's a world that we need to be a part of, at least until they're old enough to be out on their own and be responsible for their own actions. I don't see that in 13 and 14 and 15 and even a lot of 16-year-olds. You know, they're a lot of times they're not ready. And you know, this kind of stuff, whether you choose to share the information or you choose to not share the information, that is a parental decision 100%. It's not, you shouldn't be influenced by me, by anybody else. This should be what's best for you as a parent.
Well, Scott, thank you so much. That's wonderful advice. So, okay. I don't know how to finish it. I'll have to edit that part.
Yeah.
At the end, I don't know how to finish it. No,
well,
that's great.
Happy to finish it any other time, any other way. So.
No. The end was perfect. I just didn't know what to say other than like, thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
But I think we'll just end it at that. I think. Happy
to practice some more of these anytime you want.
Awesome. Yeah.
A lot of times I still get too animated, and I try to stay calm, and I know
No, that was awesome. I especially like at the end when you said like no doubt. I mean, that was super strong. That was great. So let me do this.
If you ask the question, you'll get that answer.
Yeah. Awesome. So let me take what we have, these two, and edit them, and then let's see kind of how they come out, and then I'll come back to you next week and see where we go from there.
Play with it some more.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Thanks, Scott.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.